Hello and welcome to Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. This is version 0.18. It's only been out for a couple of days, but it is by far the most exciting release. Okay, and for this extremely short sort of test Let's Play, I am going to be docking. This will give me the opportunity to show off a number of the new features, and also let me get back in the spirit of doing Let's Plays. I think I'm going to time-lapse the construction of this, so I will be back in a second. Okay, I think that will do it. As you can see, this is a fairly simple rocket, solid boosters. Put that there. Actually, I'm going to add some stability enhancers, as they're called, as well. And if you guys haven't taken the chance, if you own KSP, do give the part descriptions a read. They're usually clever and quite funny. So I will rename this the Docking Craft 1. Simple and to the point. And so I've added a couple of the new features. As you can see, there are batteries and solar panels just on the ASAS there. And some of the new science instruments. I have a gravity field detector, an accelerometer, and a thermometer. And I'll show you how those work as well. Alright, just want to make sure my staging is correct here. Put that there. I think that should do it. Alright, let's launch. Now what I'm going to be trying to do is docking with a refueling station that I already have in orbit. It's in a 100-kilometer orbit, so it should be pretty easy to get to. Taking a little while to load. Oh, you know what? I should have added lights to this for docking, just in case we end up on the night side of the planet. Yeah, I'm going to very quickly go back to the VAB and add a couple of the floodlights. So utility, they're in here, right? Yeah, they're there. Okay. Scroll up to the top here, flip them around. There we go. That should make that quite a bit easier. Alright, now we launch. Okay. So one of the first things I've noticed about launching in the new version is that the mainsail liquid engine, the large engine I have here, tends to overheat with these large orange fuel tanks. So I'm not going to be pushing the throttle all the way up. I'll keep it at, oh, about there for now. And alright, let's just go for it. Looking pretty good so far. Not a lot can go wrong this early in the flight, so all's well. Bill's looking not too pleased with the situation, but he's not screaming yet, so that's always a good sign. And you can already see that some major changes have been made to Kerbal since the last version. It looks a lot prettier than it used to. 4,000 meters, my fuel is starting to run out, And basically every part now has one of these sort of in-depth little information panels. Oh, there they go. Now it doesn't have it anymore. So, for example, here I'm going to start my gravity turn now. Pitch over just a little bit. For a rocket like this, I'll usually start at 8,000. I'm sure there is a precise, calculated, most efficient way to perform a gravity turn, but really if you have enough thrust, you can just sort of guess, and it seems to work out pretty well. But as I was saying, you can see the new resources, liquid fuel and oxidizer for the fuel tanks. You can go to the RCS tanks, they have monopropellant. And the science instruments, I'll actually turn those on. You can see our accelerometer is 1.5 Gs, which is what we're reading down there as well on the nav ball. Our gravity field, 9.2 meters per second squared. And our thermometer, negative 38. I'm not sure what units that's in, but, I'm sure somebody knows. Okay. And those should be using electric power, which is stored in the batteries. But the engines, or at least the larger ones, contain alternators that supply electric power to the batteries, so I'm not worried about using up any power. But once we're in space, I can extend the solar panels there. I don't want to extend them now, of course, because they will shatter in the atmosphere. I think it takes just about 10 meters per second of velocity for them to shatter in the atmosphere, something like that. We may actually, yeah, no, we're a little bit too high. That's no problem. We can work that out with the maneuver node system in a bit. But we have a lot of fuel left. I'm going to try to turn on RCS and pitch it over all the way and just give myself some more horizontal velocity here. Suppose I should wait. Here's something to remember. Always turn RCS off before you go into non-physics time warp, which I can't go into. Here. While the ship is under acceleration. I'm not still in atmosphere. I'll turn off. There it goes. Alright, what was that? Is that 105 or so? So I'll wait until then. Okay, 100, that should be close enough. But as I was saying, do not leave RCS on with the non-physics enabled time warp, because it will use up all of your RCS very quickly, or your monopropellant, I should say. I have lost several spacecraft due to that mistake. Because without RCS, you really should not be attempting to dock. Oh, my engine's overheating. I want to turn that down a bit. Alright. That's looking pretty good. I didn't expect this entire first stage to make it up this high, so that's... I think 2,000 puts me... Okay, I guess I want a little more. That may have been too much, but... yeah, a little bit too much. That's no problem. And now, for the maneuver node system. First, I'm going to click on refueling station. Oh, click on refueling station 1. If it'll let me. It's clicking on my orbit instead. Oh, come on. There we go. Set as target. And as you can see, that is very lucky. Actually, I already have a very close interception, so I can basically add a small maneuver anywhere and tidy that up. That is incredibly fortunate. I think I need to pull it up a little bit. And as you can see, or perhaps you can't see, I believe my mouse cursor is actually disabled. But you can imagine, looking at the maneuver node I have there, that I'm clicking and dragging the various icons to change this orbit. Try to get it as close as possible. It's at 7 kilometers. Is that making it better or worse? It's making it better. 6.5. 6.5. back a little bit. 6.2. 4.7, getting really close. You want to get it into, I don't know, I'd say within 2 kilometers to be perfectly safe. I'm sure you could do it at a distance of, say, 4 kilometers like here, but I would not recommend it. 4.1, and now I'm moving the maneuver node itself because I'm not actually sure where the best place to be doing this burn is. I believe it has something to do with that ascending or descending node there, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not really sure what that's about. Okay, just sort of fiddling. I might speed this up a bit if this takes much longer, because this is a very fiddly little thing that I am doing. Yeah, I'm going to speed this up. Okay, 3.7. That'll be good enough. Oh, I left RCS on. Okay, well, right now I can show off the new fuel transfer system. Might as well do it now. I have a burn in about 2 minutes, and I'll show you what that's like. That's the maneuver node that I placed. But as you can see, if you first right-click to open up the resources menu for one of the tanks, and then hold Alt and right-click on the second one, and then you can bring up the fuel transfer options. So that is completing itself. Alright. And now I have to find that maneuver node. The maneuver node will show up on your nav ball as a blue sort of arrow. And the green bar on the side, I don't see it. This does not bode well for this maneuver. Is it somewhere strange? Did my rocket spin around? I'm quite confused. Do I have to set it to target mode? Yep, that's it. Okay. So there is the blue arrow. Oh, come on. 37 seconds. Okay, so if you click on where you see the speed indicator, you can see that I switched it to target mode. And what this will do is the pink vectors will show the position of your target, and the green vectors will show your velocity relative to the target. So that is extremely useful. Oh. Okay, I expected that burn to take longer. So, we're going to have to correct that, I believe. Not a problem. Okay, do the burn now. And as you can see, the delta V meter goes down. And I may drop that... Here, how close are we? It's a good idea to delete your maneuver nodes after you use them. Just click on them, delete them, and then you can see what you actually managed to do. Okay. that's a really shaky maneuver. I'm not sure what's up with that there, but it's within 5 kilometers. I can put another burn later in my orbit, give myself a little more time, and see what I can do to make that line up more. No, I did the opposite of what I want to do. 4.9, if I pull it down, what does that do? 5, up, 4.9. 5, 5.7. Oh, that is not what I wanted to do. I'm not sure why, but this is a pretty finicky maneuver. This is harder to set up than most I've tried. Of course, I'm not really too handy with orbital mechanics, so that probably has something to do with it. That's not really changing that much at all. We don't need to make a big burn here, we just need to make a little one. Nope, that made it bigger. See, this is how I've been trying to figure this system out. Just pulling various sliders, seeing what brings me in closer, and what brings me further away. 4.9, that seemed to do the trick a bit. 3.8, getting much better. 2.0, that's actually good enough to dock. I'll see how close I can get it though. 1.7, because of course the close, oh, that pulled us back out again. I'd be happy at 1.9. Okay, so, and once again I left my RCS on. That was a mistake. We've got a burn in 15 minutes, but it's a very tiny burn. It's only a delta V of only 15 meters per second. So that, you know, I think I'm going to lose this first stage. That right now is just too finicky, so I'm going to separate that. And this thing is much more maneuverable, even without the RCS, with just the reaction wheels in the command module. I think that's what they're called, the reaction wheels, the gyroscopes that can make it maneuver. Okay, so I'm pointing at the blue arrow, and I'm going to time warp up to that burn. Goodbye, first stage. We shan't be seeing E again. Or maybe we will. Probably not. 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Alright. I can pull that time warp down a bit. And actually I can probably show off the lights. There are some new buttons up here, actually. You can see brakes, gears, lights. We have neither brakes nor gears, but we do have lights, so I can turn those on. You can just see it catching the tiny bit on the side of the command module there. And there is also an abort button, but by default that does nothing. You will have to program your abort sequences with the action groups, which I have not gone into. And here we have the scientific instruments, nothing on the accelerometer. 6. It's a little surprising how much the value of the acceleration due to gravity has changed. Interesting. Thermometer, negative 200. That means nothing to me. So, alright. A burn in less than a minute. And once we get near the station, I can deploy those solar panels and show those off a bit. They look very, very nice. You can see the sun is setting over Kerbal, and we have a burn coming up. I'll speed up just a tiny bit. Now, missing a burn at something this simple, where we have plenty of fuel. Oh, like that, I missed the burn. And my engines aren't active, but it's a very short burn. Okay, so I completed that burn, in a manner of speaking. Actually, that's our target right there. It's 70 kilometers away. So delete that node, and we're going to intersect at, okay, a separation of 1.3 kilometers. That is very, very good. A lot better than I would have suspected. And the first thing to do is, on your approach, once you get within a reasonable distance, you want to kill your relative velocity, and that will sync up your orbits. So come in closer, see how close well, we're going to get very, very close shortly. And we are currently on the night side of Kerbal, but the sun is coming here. I'm not sure at what point the parts will actually load, but you should be able to see the craft, or the refueling station rather, fairly shortly. Alright, it's coming in a bit closer. Now we're moving very quickly, so we don't want to put this one off too much, this burn. Okay, I'm going to start killing off some of this velocity, because 80 meters per second in space is very, very fast. Oh, I'm using that incorrectly. I didn't have SAS on. I think I'll bring this down to something a lot more reasonable. We have plenty of fuel with these little tiny engines. So I'm going to bring it to something reasonable like 20, and then we can time warp and get closer. Okay. And we're going to keep getting closer. Actually, I'm going to check the map. I may have done that too quickly. Yeah, I think that may have been a mistake. I think that knocked us out too much. I underestimated the effect that burn would have, so this may be a mistake. But I'm just going to burn towards it. Like I said, we do have plenty of fuel. So fuel is not a problem, actually. If I can pull that velocity vector down directly on top of it, that would be handy. So what I'm doing here is I'm pulling my relative velocity vector directly over the positional vector that points towards the refueling station. So now I'm heading directly for it at 168 meters per second. But as we have just seen, these engines can change that very quickly. So I'm going to check here. Okay, yeah, no, we have another intersect at 0.9 kilometers. That is very, very good. So I'm going to kick up the time warp again. Okay, we are very close. So I need... okay, wait. I need to kill that velocity off as quickly as possible. Okay, that is reasonable. I'm just going to kill it all off. It's going to make things simpler. Bring that down to basically 0. And you can see it sort of twinkling as we pass over what I believe is the KSC down there. Okay, so now I'm going to point towards it. Start a small room, bring that to like 5. And we are going to be getting in close very shortly here. Oh, no, I forgot to fill my RCS things. That's going to make this very, very tricky. We may have enough. We'll see. If we don't, this could get exciting. Or we could just miss. Usually, you just miss when you mess up a docking maneuver. It is less likely to collide. Alright, so we're coming in closely here. You can see the large solar panel arrays on our refueling station 1. I don't believe there's any monopropellant for me to sort of steal from that refueling station. I believe all that's left on it is liquid fuel and oxidizer. Alright, yep, that is the KSC, which is mysteriously underwater. There it goes. Pops in as we pass over it. Okay, getting very close, or reasonably close. And it looks like we won't have to use those floodlights I put on this guy, but when we pass over the night side after docking, I can turn those on, because they're actually very, very cool. Okay, coming in up on that refueling station 1. Starting to burn again. And a very handy shortcut sort of key is press X and it will cut your throttle to 0. That is very good to know. Especially for something like this, where it is important to cut your throttle very quickly. Alright, now I'm going to point back towards my target, do another tiny little burn, get us in 2 meters per second should be fine. Now once we get in very close, we should start using our RCS. We're not quite there yet. We will be soon. The good thing about RCS is that currently in the game, RCS jets don't push other objects, whereas rocket engines do. So if I try docking using mainly these small rocket engines here, I would have to worry about knocking the station I'm trying to dock with around, which would not be a good time. Okay, there it is, and you can sort of see what we're dealing with here. I think I might be able to select one of the docking ports right now. Yep, I'm going to dock with this port, so it's always good to set that port specifically as your target. And there we go, that is done. So we're coming in fairly close. Everything's looking good, our lights are on, our batteries doing alright, even without our solar panels. We can deploy those in a bit. Assuming docking is successful, it might not be. That is always a possibility with Kerbal Space Program. Okay, we're coming in very close now. Now would be a good time to switch to RCS. So I'm going to control that from there. So that's another handy thing. You can set it to control from your specific docking port that you're using, so that'll switch all your RCS controls. There is a new docking mode in the game, but I found it harder to use, actually, because I'm just so much more used to using the translational RCS keys, which are H, J, K, I, L, and N. But the docking mode is sort of nifty. It allows you to switch between a rotational mode and a translational mode, both of which are controlled by just the... Oh, didn't mean to go into map mode there. By just... Okay, what's happening? The... give me a second. Okay. By just the WASD keys. Now, here's a handy sort of tip. You can actually very simply switch to the other station, and I'm going to point this guy up in a better way. Now, there's no RCS on this, so I'm going to have to rely on this tiny probe body to sort of rotate this thing around. But as you can see, it has a good deal of liquid fuel left in it, along with oxidizer, but no monopropellant. So swing it up. I believe if I point it up just north, that'll be easiest. Or not north, but normal to the planet's surface. That should be for the best, or something approximating that. Alright, come on. Hopefully that guy doesn't drift too far away. Okay, that should do that. And we have drifted a little bit, so pull that away. Oh, wrong key. And H, pull it in closer. Now, I'm not perfect at this yet, but I have managed to dock several times successfully. It still requires a good deal of concentration. And there is a new... you have to that's another tip. You have to reset your targets if you switch vessels. Those... Oh, too close, too close. Okay, could have been paying a bit more attention there. So, pull myself back in that way. There is a new camera mode somehow. Maybe I have to go into docking mode to get that? Yeah, I'm not sure how to access it, but there's supposed to be a new relative camera mode that is supposed to make this easier. I don't quite know how to get to it, though, unfortunately. So instead, I'm just going to sort of fake it. But what that will do is it'll sort of point you in the right direction and hold the camera steady behind your craft so you can align it up. Okay, nope. J is going to go the way I want, and K is going to be down. Move the camera. Start burning with this way. I want I to burn back up and K to burn back down. So this is quite finicky. I'm not very efficient at this yet. Okay, so I need to change my angle a bit. Sideways, I'm looking alright. Put myself down. I'm just sort of hit M again. Tapping very softly these keys. Check my sideways. Okay, a little bit there. Alright, I'm going to, it's not a perfect angle, but I think I should be fine. The docking ports have a sort of magnetic attraction to each other, so that should help with that. Or will help with that, I should say. And check sideways again, that looks reasonable. Okay, coming in close, those connect, and there we go. We have successfully docked with Refueling Station 1. If we wanted to, we could select one of these and rename the vessel as something else. I am going to switch the icon to Station, though, but we don't really need to do that. What I am going to do is right-click here, Alt-right-click there to activate that, and transfer fuel and oxidizer over to my little rocket. Alright, that's good. And if I want, I can take him out. Actually, I've forgotten whose this is. Is this Bill? Not sure. We can take him out for a little ride. And I've just realized that the docking port is on the back of my craft, and my floodlights are pointing towards the front. So that was a bit of a silly mistake. But yeah, you can see docking is a bit finicky, but it's not that hard, even when, you don't know that much about orbital mechanics. Can I extend those? I can extend those while in this view. Alright, so I'm going to extend these solar panels, so you can get I don't want to crash into them though, I'll probably make them snap. So you can sort of see how those look. One as well. And finally, that one. Alright, so here is our very small spacecraft docked to Refueling Station 1. And we can see the majestic Kerbal sunset there in the background. It looks very, very nice. And yeah, I suppose now it's time to get ready to go home. I won't try to do anything too fancy with this. I could try to land near the Kerbal Space Center, or directly on top of it, but that's always takes a bit of time. Okay, so now to undock, simply right-click on the docking port and hit undock. It's as simple as that. I'm going to burn a little bit away to get myself away from here. Actually, how much RCS do we use? We barely used any RCS or monopropellant doing that, so that is good to know. And actually, if I burn to get a little bit further away, I'm going to rotate back over there. Kill that, and show off the floodlights. Okay. Made a mistake in judgment there. Oh, dang it, I made another one there. Yeah, as you can see, in that very short amount of time, that bled through all of our RCS, so I'm going to give up on that. I'm going to retract these solar panels, because they will shatter in the atmosphere, as I said before. So you guys don't get to see the floodlights there, but I can show them off to you on my Kerbal Space Station 1, which is parked in a higher orbit. Alright, so now I am ready to deorbit this. I'm just going to do this very simply, just burn and land in the ocean. Goodbye, refueling Station 1. Now I actually really like these small motors here that I've been using. They are very, very nice engines for this sort of very tiny craft. Alright, just make sure. Hit X. Let's just make sure we are going to land in the ocean. We're going to land on the night side, so that's not so bad. Yeah, I guess I will simply... I could decouple this now. I'll use up the last of this fuel, since I did take it from the station. No point just letting it go to waste, I suppose. Actually, I'll physics time warp up here to use that fuel more quickly. Okay, so all our fuel is gone. We're in a very shallow, not shallow, a very steep orbit, suborbital trajectory. That's the best way to say that here. And alright, so we're going to land not quite in the ocean. That's not that bad. Yeah. And also you can, of course, activate decouplers through the right-click menu now, as well as parachutes. Oh, and as you can see, the command modules also make a bit of electric charge on their own, so that is what is powering those floodlights right now. Oh, so we're coming in for a smooth landing. Coming in pretty fast, but not too fast to rip that parachute off. As you can see, it's those floodlights are lighting up a bit of the parachute, but not a lot. And Bill is screaming. That is quite a lot of G's that he's pulling there, so it's understandable. If I can point this at the ground, you'd be able to see the floodlights better, but I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe? No, that's not happening. Alright, so this guy's coming in for a landing. I can just roll the pod over once it's landed to show off the floodlights a bit. Put on physics warp here. Don't want to... I've had bad experience with physics warp and parachutes in the past, so I do not suggest mixing the two. But these floodlights are also particularly useful for landing, especially on tidally locked bodies like the moon. Okay, there we go, and you can actually see our floodlights seem to be lighting up the inside of that parachute, so that's nice. Also a bit of a shadow. So maybe that's just the sun coming through Kerbal, which means that they haven't added the new shader engine, which will prevent that. Okay, so coming in for a landing. There's no way this can go poorly at this rate. I say that it's going to explode as soon as it touches the ground. Okay, now we're close enough. Alright, success. And if I roll over, you can see that the floodlights do indeed illuminate the terrain. So, I'm going to end that flight, our successful docking mission, and just ever so briefly show off Kerbal Space Station 1, which, after I built it, I realized, unfortunately, that it's a little too much stress for my CPU to handle, so there's going to be quite a bit of lag once I focus in on it. But as you can see, it is quite the construction. This was the first thing that I did in the new version of Kerbal Space Program. It's only 3 parts, sort of core, with a habitation module, command module, and then 2 habitation and fuel modules with those large solar arrays. So that's Kerbal Space Station 1. I can't use it for anything because of the lag, or the stuttering from the CPU, but it looks cool. And if I go into time warp, you can see it floating majestically over Kerbal, much like the International Space Station. So I believe that's going to be it for this video. I don't know how much I'm going to edit this in the end. Probably not very much. This is mostly a test and me trying to sort of get back into the Let's Play spirit, which I haven't been in a long time, which if you're a subscriber of me, you know, of mine, I should say, you know all too well. And there the moon rises and Kerbal Space Station 1 continues on. Alright, so that's all from me, and this is Jerathor signing off.